Our next reader is Lori Devon Shapiro, known on the internet as Anonymous Superhero, a music journalist who trolls the internet and local venues as a typical electronic dance music fan, also an MFA student in creative writing and fiction, who may forever be writing an adaptation of The Wizard of Oz. She'll be reading a really bizarre autobiographical piece that may or may not be part of a larger project, always a work in progress. Okay, welcome Lori.
So, I have been kind of working on this piece that is about the counterculture of the 60s and how it relates to the counterculture now. And so I just want to give everybody a little bit of information about the EDM culture, because I'm not sure how many people are familiar with it, but electronic dance music is global phenomenon that's hitting pop waves now, but has been on the underground for a really long time. And there's, a lot of stereotypes that come along with the underground that kind of thwart the efforts that are greater, of kind of what our culture stands for. And so I'm trying to, there's a festival that's coming up, and it's called Mysteryland, and it's actually on the Woodstock grounds in New York, and it's a camping festival. And so it's going to kick off festival season this year, and festival season is a really big deal. There's a huge festival in Belgium that's kind of marks the height of the European side, and in America we've got a couple. I'm going to actually be traveling down to Austin and also to Miami to go hobnob with record labels and whatnot. So it's pretty exciting stuff. I've been working pretty hard as a journalist, and so these are just kind of some observations. And I wrote this up last night. So it's a little messy, but I read it out loud to my friends and they really liked it. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it. So I'm working with the title, but it's Counterculture of Tomorrow, Why We Will Win. This must boil down to a history lesson that we don't know where we came from. We have lost some sense that we need to travel through time, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. What is EDM? What is dance music? I'm sort of about a deconstruction of terms here because I'm starting to lose the sight of things myself. What the fuck is music if not to dance to? I guess this is decom right now about titles and words and their meaning and their weight and genres and constrictions and the beast that is the music industry. The revolving door of what is in style and attention deficient populations and high art and mass culture and boom. An explosion. The ringing out of a shot. Let's travel through time. Let's go back, before Motown, before jazz, before blues, slave music, plantation cries, chants of ghettos, of favelas. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows the sorrow. Chain gangs, internment camps, prison, soul, funk, fuck. So hard to figure out where it all began. Return to the lab with a pen and a pad. The machines, the records, recordings, sound bites. Remix it all. The eternal souls, let them tell the story. Otis Redding, Hunter S. Thompson, Syd Barrett, Jimmy, Janice, Jim, John. I read the news today, oh boy. But what does it all mean? Where are the commonalities, the thread, the why, a message? To what end? So it's 1960-something, January 1969. I'm in the room. I'm a fly on the wall, up against the window, buzzing around, trying to get out of a station wagon because it's hot and smells of patchouli. And it's deja vu all over again. And the car stops. No one is going anywhere. People are just getting out of their cars and walking, with flowers in their hair going, do you know the way to Asker's farm? Where are you going now, my love? Where will you be tomorrow? The harmonies, natural voices, actual instruments. Feed them on your dreams. And I have this image of myself in another lifetime, sitting around a circle of flowers and long flowing hair blowing in the wind. At least Joan Baez and Bob Dylan said so once. Let your freak flag fly, peace and love and all that jazz. The story goes that 4 dudes wanted to put on a music festival in upstate New York. It seems somewhat run-of-the-mill at this point, but this was at the dawn of the age of the Aquarius. We imagine what our lives would be like without the internet. It's a strange and uncomfortable thing to think about a nanosecond without my iPhone. But even without technology, word spread about the Woodstock Music Festival. And after the success of bigger events like Monterey Pop Festival, 400,000 people turned out when they expected 200,000. Press pause. In a land of make-believe that don't believe in me. What the fuck, who the fuck cares? I'm headed to the homeland. Fuck Israel. I'm on my way to ATL. I'm going to Atlanta soon. It's sort of the birthplace of a genre of music that I absolutely love, and so that's just a little tidbit of information. I want to walk where my brothers walked. I want to hear their stories. When I was in Israel, I could hear the screams of thousands who plunged to their death off Mount Sinai. I was cleansed by the sea that kills everything dead. I heard the cross dragging through the sandy streets of Old City Jerusalem as Jesus bore his burden and became a martyr. In Japan, kamikaze tactics are par for the course. When you stand over a suicide cliff on the ancient grounds of Okinawa, you can hear the echoing of soldiers dying with their pride rather than taken prisoner in shame. So I'm like the time traveler, making quantum leaps through time, and I was just wearing flowers in my hair and on my way to Max Yasker's farm, a flying squirrel in the pocket of some nomadic gypsy dude. All these people together, and I would trade all my tomorrows for one single yesterday. Nostalgia for a life I've never known. I snap out of a daydream to find my fist in the air. I close my eyes and think back to the hallucinations of a Black Panther, like a militant motherfucker with an afro yelling about Plymouth Rock. Sending out a message, an SOS, a call to arms. Superheroes wanted. All these cities need saving, all these broken down towns and backwards ass lands. And we're living in fast forward, moving forward, looking forward. As attention deficiencies grow, so does memory loss, like real short term, like that dude from Memento. No one remembers what happened 1 week ago. 3 days is too long to think on the same thing. But it's all way too short a time span to figure out anything. We're all just walking around, creating more confusion and asking more questions and never resolving anything. And no one's coming to save us. We have been forsaken, or we have forsaken ourselves. Either way, the American dream and the middle class and social programs and equal rights hold as much truth as the gallant stories my forefathers told. But they wrote the book that told us what to believe. Teach the youth about Christopher Columbus, and you say he was a very good man. You believe what they tell you. Keep on believing it. I'm tuned into the frequencies that they don't want you to pick up on. I've heard their side. Now I'm looking for the truth. I can handle the truth. Even if the rest of the world isn't ready. They're too busy playing Flappy Bird and pretending to do important things with all these electronics that are really making everyone dumber. A population with literally the world at their fingertips, but they could care less. If they could only level up in Candy Crush, maybe get a retweet from someone even remotely famous, like a Real Housewife or something. Even just a retweet would be nice. I'd take a favorite from some random at this point. I'm hoping I'm using the right hashtags. I should have checked today's trending topics. Messages come in all shapes and sizes these days. 140 character minimums seem to be the most chic and trendy way to communicate. Witty links and super creative hashtags help to connect the billions of people trolling this globe and the interwebs. There's a great big world at our fingertips. Maybe we're all just packed into one little tiny molecule in the index finger of my finger, or Skrillex's, as we raise them in the air and lean our fuzzy half-shaped heads on the barrel of a locked and loaded gun, the neck of a cello, the arm of a lover. My fist raised in the air, an antenna picking up radio frequencies that the rulers of the internets are mixing up and creating the prototype for. The new genre called What the Fuck is a Genre? They're sending out a message. The problem is that you can't see it. You may never see it. But at the very least, you'll have to speed up because they're making for the DeLorean. Once those wing doors close and that carriage turns back into a pumpkin at midnight. So you better muster up some serious speed, like generate it naturally and hone it in, and sleep never. And if you're extremely smart and have lived a lot of years and your struggle really is real, then maybe you'll level up. Oh, and there goes the stroke of the second hand. It reached 12 before you were even able to process the preliminaries. Pandora is music, and the internet has opened her box. It would literally be impossible to close. There's no going back to simpler days. Any refusal to adapt will simply get you left behind. So you run to catch up with the sun, but it's sinking, racing around to come up behind you again. And so it goes. Have you heard this one already? I believe that you have, so I guess stop me if things start to sound too familiar. May I remind you, though, that deja vu is simply a glitch in the matrix. And if you think you know this story, you haven't heard it like this. My side. Relatively speaking, it's going to take a lot of perspective to make sense of the fragments and references, and you may even begin to believe that this is poetry or crazy talk. Certainly you will not believe that this is my real life, let alone just a glimpse into some thoughts I have been having lately. It just seems to me like there isn't anything that is sacred. The stories of our past may not even be true, any of them. Intelligence is a joke. No one wants to or has to learn jack shit anymore, because none of it matters. And when your son is at home, crying all alone on the bedroom floor because he's hungry, and the only way to feed him is to sleep with a man for a little bit of money. I think maybe that's it. I thought maybe that's on my page, but I don't think there is. So it ended a little bit abrupt because I didn't finish it. I had the most bizarre day of my entire life today, which is like every day of my life, but today I had this really strange thing happen to me, and I've been just like I've just been trying to decompress all day, and I'm dealing with obviously a lot of intense like feelings and thoughts, and so I have a tendency to just leave things off like that and not even realize that they weren't finished. But I plan on doing like another half of this and then sending it to the blog that I write for, which is called Do Androids Dance, and it'll be like my first big piece that I've written. So you know, as of right now, I just cover like songs that come out or like albums and things like that, and so like I said, it's a work in progress, but I was pretty proud of what I came up with last night. So I decided to read this instead of the first chapter of my memoir.
Great.